Mysteries coming at you.
Coming at you.
Mysteries coming for your soul.
For your soul.
Mysteries coming at you.
At you.
Mysteries coming for your ass.
For your ass.
Mysteries coming at you.
At you once again.
Mysteries in your teacup. Mysteries by that old man. Mysteries under your bed.
Under your bed.
Mysteries coming at you.
Once again.
Mysteries all up in your nan. Mysteries coming at you.
Once again.
Mysteries up in your attic. Mysteries in your garden shed. Mysteries under the bridge.
Water under.
Mysteries in a dark cave. Mysteries at the dark of night.
Dark times.
I wish I knew what the actual chord was for the thing. The ultimate chord.
Yeah, the ultimate.
It's never really finished
chord.
for me there.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's like a strange little Peruvian guitar.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the tuning for it is. So
No, it's called a charango.
A charango.
Charango.
Shout out to the charangos.
They were once made out of armadillo shells.
Were they?
Wow.
Cool. Well, that's a good fact in itself.
Yeah.
Armadillo shells.
Yeah.
Cool.
Armadillo.
Armadillo. That's so cool, man. Armadillo.
Armadillo.
So welcome everybody to Mystery Monday. We hope that your week has got off to a bang, in a good way. We're here to make everything suddenly very mysterious.
Mysterious.
It is Bullwinkle's turn
Hello, everybody.
to bring us a mystery this week. So, young Bull, are you ready?
I was born ready.
People watching, are you ready?
I was born.
Gladiators.
Are you ready? Contestant, are you ready?
Oh. Come on, blow your nose, mate.
Oh.
So,
What a
Bullwinkle.
mysterious
Bullwinkle.
noise. Binkle.
What's the So Binkle.
Binkleberry.
So Binkle. What's the
Well.
mystery you got for us this week? What's it called?
This week,
Let's preface this.
I am going to be telling you the mystery of the Pollock sisters, or the Pollock twins, whichever you want to go for.
The Pollock twins.
Well, I guess twins is more specific.
Yes, well, not quite. You'll see why, though. You'll see why. Should we get straight into it?
Let's do it.
So, in the 1940s, Florence and John Pollock were married, and in 1946, after having 2 sons, they welcomed their first daughter, who was named Joanna. In 1951, Florence gave birth to another baby girl named Jacqueline. Despite their age differences, the 2 girls had an extremely close bond. Joanna liked to take care of Jacqueline and saw herself as the ultimate big sister. Since their mother was busy running the family's grocery delivery business, Joanna saw herself as a second mother to her little sister. They enjoyed playing dress up and pretend, and generally just enjoyed being around each other, as you would with a sibling.
What was the age difference again, man? Sorry?
So 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
That's fairly big, I think, when you're young. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean, when you're really young.
Oh, yeah.
So my brother's
Oh, yes.
only 3 years older than me, but I felt like there was quite a big difference, sort of like when I was
Especially
really young.
when you were toddlers.
Yeah.
Eerily, Joanna would always state that she would never grow up to become a lady. She would always say that she would remain a child forever. No one took her seriously and chalked it up to the child's creative imagination. On May 7th, 1957, however, 6-year-old Jacqueline and 11-year-old Joanna were walking to church with a young neighbourhood boy, as they often did. While they were walking, a car came up behind them and purposefully hit them at an incredibly high speed, killing all 3 of the children. The Pollock sisters died instantly, and the little boy they were with died from his injuries at the hospital. The woman who was driving the car had just lost her children in a custody battle and was feeling angry and upset, and was actually trying to take her own life.
Well, she failed
By
miserably.
taking 3 kids' lives.
This is apparently a story that went around the whole UK and everything, and it was a big story, and then she ended up in a psychiatric hospital, the woman, and everything. Pretty big story.
Damn,
son.
So, when learning about her children's deaths, Florence fell into a deep depression that lasted quite a long time.
I'm not surprised.
As you would.
Yeah. I can't imagine something like that.
John, on the other hand, had spiritual belief that the girls were in heaven, or that they'd be reincarnated. He said that he would have dreams about the girls, and also felt some sort of presence in their bedroom. He claimed that every time he would go in there, he felt like he wasn't alone. John always had a fascination with reincarnation and would pray to God to bring his daughters back. Florence, on the other hand, was a very strict Catholic and never toyed with any of John's notions about reincarnation. This put such a strain on their relationship that they almost got a divorce. However, they stayed together and got pregnant again. From the beginning of the pregnancy, John thought that there were 2 babies, despite the doctor only claiming there to be 1. However, John would keep insisting that there were 2, and the doctor was proved wrong on the day that the twins Gillian and Jennifer were born on October 4th, 1958. Twins never ran in the family, and Florence never felt like she had 2 fetuses growing in her, although I'm not sure how you can tell.
Yeah, I don't really think. I could definitely tell I got 2 feet inside me.
Eerily, the newborn twins had the exact same birthmarks that Joanna and Jacqueline had had, and it was this that made Florence start to seriously consider her husband's belief. Jennifer had a small birthmark on her left hip, which mimicked a birthmark that Jacqueline had. She also had a birthmark on her forehead, which was similar to a small scar that Jacqueline had had in the same spot. And then the other one had scars and stuff that would, be the same as
The other child.
The other child, exactly. So their counterpart, essentially. When the twins were 3 months old... Oh, no, sorry, I've skipped a little bit then. When the twins were old enough to talk, they began identifying and requesting toys that had belonged to their sisters who had passed on by name. First of all, how creepy is that?
So they knew the names of the toys that their kids had given them the previous.
Yeah, not just like Bear, but
yeah. Roger.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jeff.
Oi, Roger. Jeff, come here.
Even saying that they had received them from Santa, which was true as well.
Oh.
When the twins were 3 months old, the family relocated to Whitley Bay, which is east of Hexham. As the girls got older, however, it became clear that Gillian and Jennifer seemed to remember Hexham in detail. Despite not growing up in the small town, they would point out landmarks that only Joanne and Jacqueline would have known, like the school they attended. Florence and John also noticed that the twins had very similar personalities when compared to their older counterparts. While Joanne was very protective of her younger sister Jacqueline, like we talked about earlier, Gillian seems to be more mature than her twin sister. Gillian, who was born 10 minutes before Jennifer, also looked after her twin, much like Joanne looked after Jacqueline. The parents also noted that the twins even enjoyed the same games and foods as their siblings. For the first few years of the twins' life, Florence continued to reject John's suggestions that the pair had been reincarnated. After finding the twins talking about the car accident, however, she changed her mind. On one occasion, Florence overheard the girls playing a game where they recreated their sister's accident. Gillian was cradling Jennifer's head, telling her, "The blood's coming out of your eyes. That's where the car hit you."
Are you kidding me, man?
How crazy is this?
If this is true, then that's mental. Imagine it. Also, that'd be really dark and upsetting for me. Like, if I was like the dad, right, and I walked into that would be like quite an overwhelming, emotional
It wouldn't be like,
thing.
"Oh, I told you, they're reincarnated." It'd be like, "Oh, no," like...
My current daughters are like going on about how there's like blood cut, and it's like, you know, referencing my other daughters that have already died, which you're obviously never going to get over.
Yeah.
Like, never.
These children did certainly exist. That's as much as I can verify, because there's like photos of them and everything, and they look quite similar. I'll get those photos up in a little bit. On another occasion, Gillian pointed to Jennifer's birthmark on her forehead and said, "That is the mark Jennifer got when she fell on a bucket."
Whoa.
Both twins were also noted to be scared of oncoming cars and would have constant nightmares of being hit by cars, so much so that they were diagnosed with a fear of them.
Shit, that's crazy, man.
You're diagnosed with the fear of cars.
You have cartosis.
carphobia.
Cartosis.
Carphobia, cartosis.
Yeah.
Shortly after the twins turned 5, the memories of their past lives slowly began to fade away as they went on to live normal lives. While the twins lost their memories of the accident entirely, Gillian later recalled experiencing visions of herself playing in a sandpit at a home in Wickham. While Gillian had never been to Wickham, she was able to perfectly describe the house and garden that matched the home that Joanna had once lived in with her parents at 4 years old. So pretty crazy stuff. The story of the Pollock sisters made its way to Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychologist who studied reincarnation. After studying thousands of reincarnation cases, Dr. Stevenson wrote a book telling of 14 which he believed to have been real, including that of the Pollock sisters. Whether or not the actual occurrence of reincarnation exists has yet to be explained, however, and may be a mystery until the end of days. Pretty cool though. Just a cool little short mystery for you there. I thought the craziest bit was the two bits which blew my mind was when they were saying that they would like randomly refer to their like older sisters, sisters toys by name. That's like terrible, because there's no way a kid would like know that, you know?
Yeah.
No, obviously, unless their parents had like talked about it.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like with the accident, whether it was something that was like talked about with the family, or would they not ever really want to talk about that to the kids and stuff, especially at that young age. They'd probably wait until they're a bit older or something. So it's like that if they had that memory and they were reenacting, you know, that kind of thing happening. Was it something that came from the parents, or was it a real memory that was etched into their soul? I find like reincarnation stories absolutely fascinating though, and like past life stories and stuff. I remember watching like a few documentaries and that you can like see on YouTube and everything. It is like really interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Super interesting.
For sure, man.
Yeah, and it is like these, what you said as well, but about them fading by the time they were around 5. I remember watching these documentaries, and it was between like 0 and like 3 or 4. Yeah, like they were when the memories were the strongest, and almost like innocent
and it's almost
projections
like,
of
it's almost like you're growing out of that that
you're growing into your new soul, your new life.
Yeah.
But and it was really interesting. Like, these kids would, and a lot of it was like nightmares, like what you said about nightmares. It wasn't something like a fantastical. I was this in this past life. It was like almost like terrors that were happening to these little kids because of nightmares they were having. And then when the parents would ask them about it, they would talk about like certain things that happened, that were quite horrible, and they'd be able to check that as against like stories that they found. And things. Like a really interesting one was this I think it was a little boy, and he was saying about that he was taken captive by nasty Indians, like nasty, like this is in like in America, and the long and short of the story, this kid was explaining this person that had like tattoos, that this woman that she was in this like previous life that had tattoos and like had this like scar on her neck, and when the mum looked into like really old newspapers, and
I know about the
did you
woman
know about this
with
story?
the scar and the tattoos.
And it was this story about
a woman that was captured and then raised as an Indian.
Yes, and then traded with another tribe, and because she said, the first ones that captured me were horrible to me, and they like raped her and stuff like that. But then the second tribe were like really kind to her.
She just sort of integrated into it. Yeah.
And I remember like reading that story and just thinking like,
you can even see black and white pictures of her. I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what when I saw that story, that was one of them that stuck out of my.
See, I didn't know that from the reincarnation story. I just knew that from the historical story. So that's really cool. That's like a little bridge there. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Very
cool
interesting.
I found it real creepy as well how she was saying how the story was saying that the dad like literally called it and was like, they're going to be reincarnated. Like, there's 2 children coming out. There's not one. And the doctor was like, no, there's one. Only one child.
Yeah, that is weird. I guess like skeptics, like I know, like, skeptics would obviously just say, it was like a coincidence, and they might also say that, like, because of the maybe almost like the mental breakdown that the parents had, they were almost like, maybe without even realising themselves, almost like making that happen, imprinting that onto their new kids, and like believing, sort of making themselves believe that, and almost like, as I said, maybe like subconsciously encouraging their children to act like their previous children, because that would give them some sort of weird sense of like hope and happiness.
Yeah, I've been interested in it in a really long time, and I remember like reading these books by this woman called Dolores Cannon, and she was one of the leading like hypnotists,
right?
Yeah. And she would like hypnotize people, and they would go into their like subconscious and like start talking about like past lives and things, but like have no waking recollection of talking about it. And she would like publish these books about these people's cases and that. And it just really made me think. It was like a lot of things that like her theories about it were like scars that you have. So it was interesting what you said as well about the scars being the same. She would say that birthmarks that people would have relate to injuries that you've had in your previous life, and like say how you will have maybe died. Like if you had like one on your side, you might have been like stabbed or like had an arrow in your side or something in a previous life. And it's all just like interesting things, isn't it? It's like I like to speculate, and like there's no like massive proof, but like I found it really interesting when like reading about that kind of stuff,
Yeah, 100%, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just things like this. One of the reasons it's so fun to talk about is because you can't really come to a definitive conclusion. So it's just so fun to speculate and just talk about different stories and sort of try and wrap your head around it and think like, what do I even really think of it? Do you know what I mean? Like that's like the intrigue of it, isn't it?
Yeah, because another thing as well, like what she would say is that even things that happened to you in your past life could like traumatize you and like seep their way into
like
this
maybe
life.
Phobias you have now.
And like
with the cars.
And it made me interested. Like I wonder if there's anything that's like affecting me in my life now that like is because of something that happened not in this life, because I've had a pretty good life. Like like no kind of. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, is there like hang-ups, or is there like things that like you got to work through and from your previous life?
The thing that's quite
like
cool.
Your fear of the deep blue ocean, Calum.
Were you actually eaten by a shark once?
Oh, I hope not.
Or did something drag you into the depths of past lives?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's like when you were saying that, it was making me think as well, because that really ties into like a more like like die-hard actual scientific fact, and that's like like it's like a like shockingly high percentage of people either have fears of spiders or snakes or both. And that's like an evolutionary thing right back from our earliest ancestors, like before we were even Homo sapiens, like Homo erectus, and maybe even before that. Well, probably, 100% before that, because obviously where our ancestors would have lived, we would have had to have been scared of spiders and snakes because those things can kill you. Do you know what I mean? If you like sleeping on a tree branch or something like that, like before Homo erectus came along and it was the first upright ape that walked on two legs and it was actually sort of making more like land-based dwellings. If you were up a tree and then a snake came along and like in the night you accidentally aggravated it and it bit you in like Africa or something like that, like there are some really poisonous snakes in Africa and there's some real poisonous spiders in Africa. So it's like, even if you live in like a country like we do, where like on the whole, we do have some snakes and we do have some spiders that can give you a bit of a nasty bite, but none of them are like anywhere near fatal. So as I was telling, wasn't I, when we were at your sister's house, and there is that invasive species, the false widow spider, which originally comes from Spain, that came over in ships, in like fruit, like fruit box.
Deliveries.
Yeah, deliveries by ship. Back when obviously the main mode of transportation was ship. And we do have like false widow spiders now, which are considered an invasive species, which are now the most poisonous spider in the UK. But like their bite apparently is about as bad as a wasp sting. So unless if you have an allergic reaction to it, which obviously you wouldn't know until you were bitten by one of them, if you have an allergic reaction to it, you can end up hospitalised. But obviously that's a rare case. Most people, if they got bitten by a false widow, it would feel like sort of like a wasp sting. So certainly not nice, but it's not like some of the ones you hear about in Australia or like a black widow. In like America, where it will like it's like making your like flesh decay, and it's what I mean, like making you feel like you've got like full on fever for like 3 days and stuff like that. And obviously same with our snakes, we do have like adders and stuff like that, but it's not like some of the spiders, snakes can like kill you. Like it's like if you don't get like immediate medical attention, like you're dead. But so it's interesting, isn't it? It's like what you were saying obviously about in your past life, your things that are fears, like in a way that could almost make like more like scientific sense, because
genetic memory.
Yeah, because I mean we all have those genetic memories in terms of like it's natural to be scared of spiders. It's natural, like if you see a spider, you suddenly realise that a spider's like on your leg or something on the sofa, your natural reaction is like, oh!
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas like if it was like say like a woodlouse, you wouldn't do that, would you?
Yeah, you'd be like,
oh, all right, mate. Hey, all right, Ian. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like the same with snakes, isn't it? Like I know like a lot of people that are like, I'm not too bad with snakes or anything or like things like that, but like I know that some people are like really scared of them. They're like, they've just watched a video.
I saw this like real funny like not a meme, like a little short video on Facebook yesterday or Instagram, and it was they'd put like a some guy's mates had like put a fake snake into the barbecue, and this guy, he has this thing over his shoulder and his prongs in his hand, and he just opens the barbecue and the snake like springs like that, and he literally like smashed it on the thing and like was like, oh, like like real, like if it was anything else, you probably would have just been like, oh yeah, but snake, and it was like that instant fear. It's
this like hereditary imprint on our DNA as like a whole entire species, isn't it? That's like, be afraid of this. So you could see how like, as you said, maybe if it were on a more like specific level, on a more like localized level, if like something in your DNA is like scared of like a certain thing, like maybe that's why you have like a phobia of it or something like that.
Sure.
Interesting.
Interessante.
Yeah, it's a nice little story anyway, Bullwinkle.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, lads. Anything more anybody wants to add?
I really like reincarnation stories.
Yeah, we can talk more about reincarnation in future because it's really interesting. Have a nice week, everyone.
And remember, when Monday strikes, so does the mice.
What?